right, so let's get started with Gateway.
From Gateway, no major updates. Team is back from holidays. We will finish RPC for consensus layer for Ethereum mainnet as first improvement on this year. I mean, starting from that.
We also had this issue with the 500
batch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's happened and that's fixed.
And this time, this is the third time I think this was reverted for some reason. Can you make sure that this never happens again?
Correct. Already done.
All right. Shutter, any updates?
Not too much to report. Pretty much the entire team was on vacation. There are still some issues with the peer-to-peer communication between the validators and the keepers. I mean, they are talking, but they are not optimally connected. So that's still something that both Nethermind and we are looking into. But otherwise, not much to report.
All right. Hive tests?
No major update regarding Hive. I was busy with Spectre DevNet testing.
All right, for Ethereum/tests.
Hello guys, no big updates this week. We are generating some Shanghai tests to be tested, and we are in touch with Egypt for the upcoming test after Shanghai.
All right. Wait, who asked for definite tokens? Was it Dmitro, I guess? Did you get your tokens?
Yeah, we found a way how to get tokens.
All right, perfect. On the EL side, Nethermind, do you have any updates?
Hi, nothing major for now. Only thing which happened in last weeks was that we got two reports on some missing receipts on archive nodes. Probably we narrowed down the problem, and right now testing that, and also we figure out that there may be a recovery scenario for that. So right now I'm checking if the recovery is working. But this is some kind of pretty big edge case which happened.
All right. Erigon?
Nothing from me. Perhaps Somnat or Milan have an update.
Nothing major. Yeah, small update from me about Shutter. So yeah, this week I've been working on connecting to libp2p for getting the decryption keys. So yeah, I'll be working on that one for hopefully this week. I'm kind of aiming to finish that part, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's all.
All right. Geth?
Yeah, I was working on updating the documentation on the website so that everybody using it knows how to use Geth. There was I don't know, I got a message. I don't know if he's here, Gonzalo. He wrote me about checking the image he did. I'm not sure I understood what he wants exactly. So in case he's here, we could just talk. Otherwise, I'll keep pestering him on Slack. And otherwise, someone has reported a stack trace or a crash using it in production. Apparently, it happens from time to time in block building, and it's in the Aura code, which is kind of weird because yeah, it should not happen anymore. So I got some files I need to go over. But yeah, I don't know. After the holiday, I wanted to start slow with the documentation. But I'll look at it after this call. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So yeah, go ahead, Camille and Mari, or yeah, start with Camille.
I guess we have the same question, maybe, but
Maybe.
I will ask it first. About gas limit in Geth, because yesterday I was looking at our logs and noticed that quite frequently, whenever Geth is producing block on Gnosis, it increases the gas limit a little bit. So I was wondering what is the default value for Geth right now, because we use 17 millions.
70? No, it should be by default.
17.
17.
Yes.
17, yes.
Okay, yeah. No, it's going to be the default value of 30 million. So if if you want to change that, it's possible. Either you pass it as a parameter, or I can change it in the code, like the default value. But yeah, by default, it's going to be 30 million. And I think for the new, well, there hasn't been a new release since 1.14.12. But in the new one, I think we're going to have the new default value, which is a bit higher. I forgot. Is it 36 million? I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
But in any case, yeah. Okay. So that means I need to change the default value, and that will be yet another rebase problem. But it's okay. I can change that, but in the meantime, there's a way for you to specify, like there's a switch where you can say this is what the target gas limit is, and you set it to 17 million, and that's it.
Yeah, my observation was just that I've not noticed on my Nethermind node while I was processing the blocks that Geth is increasing it a little bit. I do not have personally any Geth validator right now. So that was just my observation, wanted to discuss and maybe make you aware that there is something like this on Gnosis, if you missed that.
Yeah, I mean, this is not really a big issue, right? The 17 million, I think, was put in place at some point because there was some NFT mining or whatever spamming going on basically on Gnosis Chain, so we wanted to contain that somewhat. But technically, we are not married to the 17 million. Yeah, Lukasz.
Yeah, so it's not a big issue because Geth is being voted down, right? If it produces a block, raises a bit gas limit, and then we voted down by other validators. But yeah, it would be good to align on the same defaults.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, so if you have time, decrease it to 17 million, but it's not a huge problem.
Yeah, I'll do it, but that means a new release needs to be made. I guess. Well, okay. I'll check with Gonzalo.
Yeah. So how is the release process now? Actually, is it working well or?
So from what I can tell, yes, but that's where I'm not sure. So from what I understand, every time there's a new tag being pushed, it will take that tag and build a Docker image. I don't use really Docker, so I can't really test it directly. I guess I should try on some machine, but yeah. Anyway, from what I see, that's what happens. But I guess to figure that out, I was waiting for the Geth release 1.14.13 to see if it was going to build. So as far as I can tell, it's streamlined, but I need a new release. Maybe I can do an RC1 just to check. Maybe that will be picked up. But from what I can tell, it works. It's just I haven't made a new release yet.
All right, sounds good. Then for ref.
So just to be fully clear on that, sorry, on Chiado the limit is the same. So once you will be adjusting that, Chiado have the same 17 million limit for now.
All right. Deb?
Yeah. So fixed two issues, one related to the native bridge contract and the second one related to EIP 170, that is the different scheduling. After this, we synced around 2.5 million blocks and has finally reached Shanghai. So we are syncing past Shanghai, but if I recall, Geth faced an issue on the same day when the Shanghai transition was made. So I'll manually sync for 1 or 2 days after Shanghai, and after that I'll like create bundle RLPs and like do major like mass block imports.
I mean, I can tell you what I can tell you exactly what the issue on the same day is.
Yes.
If you're interested, then you don't have to jump. So what happens is that it's like 5 hours after the fork. There used to be a limit. I'm trying to remember, like there's a limit for the code size, and it used to be. I'm trying to remember.
Wait, you mean the code size, right? That is the smart contract, the bytecode size.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay,
there
so
used to be
EIP 170 issue itself.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no worries then. Then that is solved.
This one got activated at Shanghai, and 5 hours later, there was a contract, there was a transaction, a contract creation that was above the limit, right? That was it. That wasn't being checked until Shanghai, but after Shanghai, it was being checked, except if you did not activate this thing exactly at Shanghai, the transaction would succeed when it should, like historically, it did not.
Yeah,
and so that's what
I got
happened.
the reverse issue. I think 1 or 2 million blocks back, where I mean the contract should have been succeeded, but we were not setting the bytecode because we were activating 170 at Spurious Dragon. So I had to disable that and enable at Shanghai. So I hope I don't face this issue, but yeah.
Right. If you reactivate it at Shanghai, then it should work.
Okay.
I think there was also an issue initially in Nethermind on which we encountered on Shadow because they activated EIP 170 and then 3000. I don't know which one anymore. That depends on 170. And the fact that they activated at the same time caused an issue. Now, I don't remember exactly what, but it was impossible, as far as I remember, to deploy any contracts on Nethermind when they activated Shanghai, if I remember correctly. So yeah, make sure that the activation, like at the same time of EIP 170 and 3000 something, doesn't break anything.
You mean this one, right? The limit and meter in
Yeah,
code.
exactly.
Yeah, okay. Wait, so this has to be activated exactly at Shanghai, right? Like not after a certain block.
Yeah, but the way it was coded in Nethermind just broke, but it was an easy fix. I don't know if we can find it again, but you might not run into the same thing.
Okay, got it.
All right. Is there anything to say about Spectra? How are we regarding DevNets and all of that?
Basically, the EF hasn't released yet the configurations for the DevNet 5. There, we are expecting that for next week or the other one, they will be released. So until then, we are waiting.
Yeah, so DevNet 5 on mainnet should be next week. And in meantime, Dimitra is doing his best to test Spectra for Gnosis Chain.
Yeah, regarding testing, so now I'm trying to test validators and found two issues that slow down the testing. First of all, tools for validator like deposit script and deposit UI are not really working with DevNet. So currently I am trying to adjust it to work against Spectra DevNet. And second possible issue is that this tool are not ready to work with consolidation. I mean, so there is no way, for example, to deposit more than one Gnosis token. So maybe we will need to fix this as well.
Yes, can you write something up and send it to me? Because we have the dev team that can definitely do that for both the DevNet and, of course, after Shadow and mainnet.
Okay, I will.
If you have the specs of how consolidation actually works or how the deposits files should look like and all of that, that would be awesome.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you. And then Mark wanted to talk about two EIPs that could be relevant for Shutter, I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've been working on these two EIPs, 7843 and 7793 with Ahmad. And both of these essentially add precompiles that I would call like introspective precompiles. So they allow a transaction to call them and see like where they're being executed. So I'll just start with 7843, which is to add a slot precompile. So it's a precompile that you returns the current slot number. And this is useful for potentially Shutter because we have this problem at the moment where if your transaction isn't included and it's leaked, it's now unencrypted, then the next proposer could include it. So using the slot precompile, we could add some kind of, you call into instead a smart contract that checks what slot am I being executed in, and only executes if it's in the correct slot. So that's like one, the main application that I'm thinking about, but potentially there could be others. And yeah, so the slot specifically, this is actually already possible because you can use the block timestamp in order to work out the slot number. But the problem with that is you have to hard code the slot length. So yeah, we can do this calculation assuming the slot length is going to stay 5 seconds. But in general, I think it would be much better to have just a precompile that abstracts away the slot length. We can just get the slot number, and if we change the slot length, then it's not going to affect anything. And I think Martin was talking about potentially Gnosis might change the slot length to 6 seconds at some point to kind of better line up to work with sort of interoperability with Ethereum mainnet. So yeah, that's the slot precompile. And then the other one is called the TX index precompile. And this one, when you call it, it returns the index of where your transaction is within the current block. Oh yeah, Guillaume.
Sorry, finish, but I have a couple comments on that, but please finish.
Okay, yeah, I'll quickly finish this. So yeah, sorry. So the TX index returns the index of the transaction within the current block. So this is also, I think, useful for encrypted mempools because we can do the same thing. We call some smart contract code and we only execute if we're included at the top of the block. So at the moment, again, with Shutter, like we're kind of just trusting that the proposer is going to actually do this and include it at the top of the block. We could introduce some sort of slashing if they don't do it. But in my opinion, it's better to you don't even have to necessarily do that because you can check the index of your transaction, see that it is the top of the block and only execute it in that case. So it's not like we're just slashing the proposer if they're doing something wrong, but it's actually impossible for them to do something wrong. Yeah, so that's it really.
Yeah, the question I had is, do you need the slot? Maybe I should start with a general comment. It's usually frowned upon to, like by EL client devs to have this kind of introspection because people start building stuff, and then if for whatever reason you need to upgrade and deprecate this feature, you can't. So this is the whole reasoning behind EOF, or at least maybe not the whole, but part of it. So I don't know. I'm just trying to give some pushback here. I'm not gonna die on this hill, but I think it's worth considering. The second thing is, do you need the current slot or do you need past slots?
So it returns the current slot number, so the where this block has been included. But in response to your kind of first point, I think that's kind of exactly what I'm trying to avoid, is this thing of breaking stuff in the case we make a change. So because as I said, so today you can work out what the current slot number is using the timestamp, but it's in a way that you have to assume what the slot length is and it's not going to change. So by introducing the slot precompile, it's not allowing you to do anything new. It's just allowing you to do the same thing in a way where the slot length is abstracted.
Right.
So this is kind of just opening a door, making it easier for us to change the slot length without breaking stuff.
Right.
And I'm doing some, yeah.
So sorry, just about this. It was actually being discussed the other day for 2935. Yes, it's timestamp based. The slot number. The thing is, the size of the buffer is designed in such a way, which is a prime number, that even if you change the slot duration, you will not break the contract, so you can still use this contract. What you would indeed have an issue with is computing the timestamp. Like, you don't know beforehand what the timestamp would be, but there are some measures in the beacon root contract where you can actually find it supports multiple slot length in the future. Simply, yet finding them out might be a bit expensive, because you would have to try -1 second, minus n seconds. Yeah. Okay. I'm talking. Yeah.
So if I understand, are you saying there is a way to work out the current slot number using the beacon block route?
Yes.
Or am I
Well,
misunderstanding? Okay.
Because the keys are, I mean, you know the current time, you know that the slot, but that's the thing, like, there's no upper bound, but at least you could estimate it's never going to be more than 12 seconds. And then you could go like do a for loop and hope that you get something. It's not very efficient. I'm just saying, I'm really just trying to think if we can avoid adding a precompile. But yeah, okay, it might indeed be the fastest, the best thing to do.
Yeah, no, I'll have a look into it. But yeah, my kind of initial thought is, like, maybe it's possible, but it would be much more expensive than having just a precompile just to return the slot. Sebastian, what was your question?
Yeah. So has there been any discussion around this on mainnet or on ETH Magicians or something like this? Just because, I mean, it's of course tempting to introduce another opcode for that or precompile for that, but yeah, it's a pretty heavy-handed change to the VM. So I'm just curious what there are, yeah, if there are any thoughts on mainnet or other chains, or just have a larger crowd weigh in on this before considering making this on Gnosis, because if we do add these precompiles, it would kind of shut the door to ideas such as, you know, based rollups or other things that would require more VM compatibility.
So I don't see that it would shut the door to those necessarily. Oh, you're saying to like keep it one-to-one with mainnet?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. I see. So yeah, my intention is also to propose this to be included on mainnet. So I'm still kind of working on a few things. So specifically, I'm looking into, like, are there any other applications of these precompiles? And I'm also working with someone to create a tool to analyze how many smart contracts are currently hard coded to use like a slot length of 12 seconds or 5 seconds. So once I've sort of ironed these things out, then I'll propose for it to be included on Ethereum mainnet as well. So
I can already tell you it's never going to fly.
All right. Why do you think so?
Well, because of what I said, like, people, okay, first of all, people hate precompiles. So anyway, what will, like, the pushback you will definitely get is, why not a system contract? That would be the first thing you will hear. But overall, like, people are fighting against this introspection because it makes so many things more difficult, like ZK applications, upgrades, everything. I'm telling you, it's going to be a very steep, like, uphill battle, and I don't think, I don't think you have a chance of this ever landing in mainnet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, in regards to being
prove me wrong. I'm sorry, I don't want to pop your like destroy your dreams, but I think it's going to be very difficult.
Okay, yeah. I mean, in regards to being a precompile, the idea there is like to make it an opcode. Then generally it would require all L2s or other things that want to stay EVM compatible to also implement it. Whereas with a precompile, potentially just certain chains could introduce it. So yeah, I mean, if on Ethereum mainnet like it isn't approved, then potentially like it could be on Gnosis as a precompile.
I was just thinking one thing you might want to look at is not making an EIP but a RIP, which I think is Rollup Improvement Proposal. There's a whole effort trying to harmonize some of the stuff that happens on rollups that are not going to be merged into mainnet, and that includes some precompiles. So maybe that would be a nice first step. Just a suggestion.
Mm. Yeah,
but
I mean,
that was then what I was referring to as shutting the door to being a based rollup, right? Is that understanding correct? Like if we were to do that and then Gnosis Chain would become a based rollup, then you would basically break contracts, in this case Shutter, that utilize this. Is that understanding correct?
Like you mean compared to mainnet? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, so you're saying to become a base rollup, you have to be exactly the same as fully EVM, like.
I mean,
I
or
don't see why that's necessarily.
or you break stuff, right? And I would say breaking stuff is always bad.
I mean, as long as the sequencing is shared with mainnet, I don't see that all of the precompiles and stuff have to be exactly the same, unless I'm missing something.
Well, okay, I guess that's more a philosophical thing, and I'm also not a rollup expert, but my understanding is that what you want is to write the code once and be able to deploy it everywhere. And then you don't really think about, oh, but wait, this chain has this precompile and this chain has this precompile, so I need to code my contract in such a way that if I'm interacting with this chain, I need to call this, but if I'm interacting with that chain, I need to call that, blah, blah, blah. What you want is to make it as simple as possible to create one contract and deploy it everywhere, and then let the communication happen somehow. And that definitely plays against that vision. Then again, there's no one has really done it completely yet, so it's still fine. But I think it's shooting yourself in the foot for later.
I mean, I imagine this would be a problem anyway, right? Because we have these RIPs, so we already don't have like full compatibility with every L2. Yeah, I'll think about this a bit more, but as far as I can see, like that is one thing of like trying to maintain full compatibility, but I think maybe being based is separate. As long as you have shared sequencing, I think you could have a different virtual machine potentially, but yeah, I need to think about it more.
I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to get this to drag on forever. I'm just saying, like, the whole problem with L2s is that precisely they're not compatible. This is why we want based L2s now. We want to have something that seamlessly integrates with mainnet, and none of those L2s are compatible, or maybe one, but yeah. Anyway, this is what we need to fix basically, and it's fine if you decide not to be. But if your goal is to become some kind of base rollup, you have to first make sure that indeed you are able to push this into mainnet, and I believe you will have a very hard time making it happen because people just don't want precompiles.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you for the feedback, everyone.
All right, anything else? I guess not. Well, in that case, thanks everyone for joining, and yeah, see you next week.
See you guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.